So before I dish out another 19 bits to see another movie in IMAX 3D, let me explain to you why this review is going up here instead of on the blog. Well, after typing up a review for 5 hours, they finally said, okay, just do it in video format. And if I'm typing for 5 hours, that's usually a bad sign. I mean, I'm not very fast because it's impossible to type with these things, so I have to, tape chopsticks to the end of my hooves. But either way, it's still obnoxious. So, anyway, let's just start the video over. Of all the things I could have educated myself on about the human race, I was only interested in two things: the media industry and space exploration. Noticing that there were more bad movies than, say, good movies, I decided to try myself out as a film critic. Didn't get anywhere very quickly, so when I heard that this role had opened up, I jumped at the opportunity. And it was either me or Lyra, and she wouldn't stop bouncing during the interview. They've shoved a lot of bad movies in front of me, and quite frankly, it does feel good telling people to avoid these movies at all costs. But as good as it feels, it doesn't overcome my interest in space exploration. So recently, my director gave me 19 bits to go see an IMAX 3D movie. Seriously, 19 bits. Totally worth it, though. And at the end of the movie, he asked me a question. So, gravity. Good or bad? You may have seen commercials or trailers or whatever for this movie lately, and right now it's the latest movie to hit the box office. At first glance, it just seems like another one of those movies where stuff is being shoved in your face. Oh my god, aliens are attacking, blah blah blah. You know, basically like another Asylum movie or something like that. The trailer really did paint the movie in a bad light, having only shown the action-y parts and no actual character development. It seemed like one of those movies that was going to rely on special effects and tension in order to sell itself. So at first glance, you would look at this movie and say, oh boy, it's another one of those eye candy movies. And yeah, there is a lot of eye candy in the movie. The trailers weren't lying, there's plenty of eye candy in it. Of course, that was just the trailer. Then there's the actual film. I had low expectations going into the movie theater with this, so I saw this in IMAX 3D. And let me tell you, there is no better way to experience this movie. Yeah, it adds to the film, but I was not expecting what I got out of this movie. In my professional opinion, this is one of the greatest movies of the decade. I'm serious. There are so few flaws in this movie that I can't find anything to rant about. It's actually that good. Even though the setup is subpar to say the least, not to mention highly unlikely, the characters are interesting, their actors are no less amazing and put up an astounding performance, the effects are downright badass, and the scenery is beautiful. Big science fiction films are all the rage this year, what with Oblivion, Elysium, and Pacific Rim. Gravity is probably the first one that's really worth watching. Don't get me wrong, those other films are enjoyable, but this one's just different. This movie is a break, to say the least, from the usual sci-fi movie. Everything blends together so perfectly. The acting, the props, the sets, the scenery, the effects, everything just blends together, and it's beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of CGI, of course there is. Basically everything you see on screen is fake, but it never feels like it. For once, the 3D definitely adds something to the experience. You get the depth of field, you need to truly experience the movie and feel as though you're right there with these characters. And I'll be goddamned if Sandra Bullock says she can't put up a good dramatic performance. She is absolutely stunning in this movie. She acts to absolutely nothing, yet it's always right on target. The film basically only has two cast members, what with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Sure, George Clooney dies about halfway through the film, but Sandra Bullock puts up an amazing performance. I really gotta give her praise. If she doesn't get an Oscar for this film, I don't know what she will get an Oscar for. This movie is good. I mean, really good. Of course, I can't praise it forever, then you people wouldn't watch my videos. Okay, I'm sure I can find some sort of flaw in here. How about the fact that they got one of the space shuttles, the International Space Station, the Hubble Space Telescope, and a Chinese space station all in close proximity to one another? I might point out that all of which are on completely different orbits, except for the space shuttle, of course. Or how about the fact that satellite debris hitting other satellites, which then forms debris to hit more satellites? The probability of this actually happening is like 0.1%. Not even that. Space is freaking huge. Satellites, not really that big, and are moving at thousands of miles per second. So the probability of the whole conflict is really, really unlikely. But other than the scientific inaccuracies, the rest of the movie is pretty damn accurate. You can clearly tell these people did their research. It really does look like the space station or the space shuttle. Hell, the guys on the ISS gave them a seal of authenticity. Hell, Buzz Aldrin, one of the people who've been on the moon, says he enjoys the film. So what's my final verdict on the movie? 9.8. It really does go without saying that this is one of the best films of the decade. Don't be surprised if you see this on my top 5 of 2013. My overall verdict is, check out this film. You will really get something out of it, the same way I did. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.